Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, welcome. Today we are going to talk about a very fresh topic. We've already spoken about internal and external customers. We've also spoken what can be the drawbacks of being an internal customer, or we've also spoken how the companies would suffer or upgrade being an internal customer. We all know what is internal customers, we all know what are external customers. Today I'm going to share certain tips which will help every organization turn the tables upside down to understand how best we can use this philosophy of internal customers. So let's get started and let's see how we can implement this in a better way, which will give us 100% guarantee of getting good results from or good outcomes from whatever philosophy we use. Friends, internal customers philosophy is something that is adopted by a lot of companies. To name some, I would name it as HCL, I would name it as Virgin. Now, there are many more companies which have these kind of policies. Now, this is a philosophy basically where brought into action to make things go better, easy, and not dominating. Internal customers, you all know, are the employees, whom we call them as internal customers. Now, the only idea of coming up with this kind of philosophy is that we need to have rules which are not really dominating or which doesn't allow us to put orders. The management has decided this philosophy for everyone to make them realize that we all are neutral, right from the CEO level to the top management to the front line. Now, while we do this policy, it is many a times also proven that this policy is turned fruitful because many of the internal customers treat the job like their own babies, like their own business. Now, that's the reason why there are these policies in certain corporates. When you see the work culture in corporates is so different at times that you feel that, oh, they are so free to do a lot of things. They sit where they want to do what they want to. They do not say sir or ma'am, no matter how senior is the position, even if the founder or the chairman person of the organization or the foundation. So friends, that's the beauty of this kind of philosophy, that it's a beautiful philosophy that's come up with, and that's its originality and beauty. Friends, by putting the employees first, everything falls in place. That's the major belief of this kind of philosophy. This turns the traditional management pyramid upside down by not commanding or demanding through the management, but in a way being polite and being supportive is the main motto of this kind of philosophy. Everyone in the company, right from the CEO level to the management level through to the colleagues, follow these policies in the same typical manner, so that at the end of the day everyone is treated equally and everyone treats the work as if it's own business. But how to make it into practice, how to make things into practice, or how to practically start doing it. So I have brought you certain tips to start on with this internal customer policy, and let's see how it goes. Especially at the managerial level, someone who's handling the customer service department, this is a beautiful policy if taken it very positively and if put it in the right way. So friends, I am going to share some tips with you which will help the management level to focus on this kind of philosophy, and it will be very nice for your organization to come up with something like this in the right way. Friends, being a trainer, I would suggest the first and the foremost tip is that we need to have trainings for the company. So offer company-wide communication trainings. Now, communication is such a thing which fills in all the gaps, and a communication gap doesn't allow us to fill in any kind of dig. So it's most important to be best at your communication, very clear and focused, and very upfront communication is the most important aspect or parameter of any organization, especially in customer service department. When you see customer service department, these are the customers who are every day talking to your customer service executives or managers. So imagine how crisp and clear your communication should be. Now, a training that is being provided for the communication skills is something which is very important. Now, besides that, also hire staff who are really good at communication at some point of time. Many a times we hire staff thinking that the staff is very technically sound and customer service skills are amazing, but sometimes they lack in communication. Communication, friends, is the first parameter to cross any other levels, whether it be customer service or it be business development or any parameter at all. So focus on your customer service training, focus on your communication training, focus on your communication strengths into customer service. Now, these are some trainings, if provided worldwide, they can be really useful. And if there is a communication clearance or there is no gap or there is no misunderstanding through communication, then every employee can be treated as a customer at the end of the day. There are also various online training portals where we go and we get ourselves online trained, we get enrolled, just like one of our portal, which is Ikeda. Like that, there are a lot of training portals which train you on all these kinds of communication. We can go on one of this and also get enrolled there and get ourselves trained. Now, this is what I'm talking personally and also officially. Every individual needs to understand the clearance of communication. Every individual needs to understand what aspects do we need if is focused into customer service. At the same time, every organization needs to understand how good a customer service executive should be while customer service skills as well as the communication skills. So friends, this is the first and the foremost step of having trainings in your organization on communication, on customer service, and how communication can make a difference into your customer service skills. Let's move on to the next tip. Friends, the next step would be to manage or set up an internal service standards. Now, many a times there are a lot of services that we offer, but there are no standardized services. Those are normally customized services which, when required, just come up. So friends, we need to focus as an organization, as a management level, at the customer service, especially where we're dealing with customers every day. We need to be focused on what kind of standard services are we providing. Now, these standard services along with internal standards are very important. So services definitely is what you provide out for through your customers, but there are internal customers as we are talking about, and for them, what are the standard services that we have? So to name some or to give you some examples, I would talk about handovers per issue. I would talk about single question or questionnaire, response time. Now, there are these kind of standards which if fall in place, there are very less chances of any employee or any internal customer going out track to understand more and get into more details, because everything would be very, very simple and clear. Now, this is again one of the parameter of clear communication. These are the set standard rules which many companies follow for all the communication to be extremely clear and very, very upfront. Now, in the companies who follow these kinds of standards, there are no chances that people would do something extraordinary because there are already certain standards set. Now, every policy or every company should have a confirmed agreement of these policies to be followed by all the internal customers of the company. Of course, these standards don't have to be as strict as the external standards towards the customers, but at least to be followed merely so that the internal issues or the internal conflicts do not appear while we do the customer service, and it doesn't give us any hitch or hurdle while we are focused on the customer. So friends, this is the second tip that I would like to give you, is please maintain internal service standards. Let's see the third tip. Friends, the third tip would be reiterate the message. Many a times the top management is extremely busy. Of course, we all understand, but what happens is when you give out a message or rule out a message or a policy or an instruction, and then we assume that the entire staff or the entire internal customers, I would rather say, would follow it in the right way. But that doesn't happen all the time, because many a times they need a reminder again and again. Like today, for giving you an example, a simple one, it's a friend's birthday after 3 months. Okay, as a person, I would really not remember the date or really not remember that her birthday is on this date. Now, what do? We set an alarm in our mobile which gives us a kind of reminder in the morning saying that today is your so-and-so friend's birthday. And that's how you remember, and that's how you go and wish her. So definitely understanding that we are not all computer brains, we need reminders, we need constant reminders. Now, even when we are talking about a certain policy or an agreement or instructions which we rule out to our downline staff, which is the customer service facing. Now, many a times they have a lot of work to do, we have a lot of work to do, we tend to forget. Now, a routine reminder would be something which would help them to reiterate the message again and again. So this can be like a monthly meeting, quarterly meeting, dinner catch up, lunch catch ups with them, or in some way or the other putting it right in front of them again and again, so that there is no tendency of forgetting anything, and then the work is done very smoothly. This will help to sustain the credibility of the work with the customers, and the customers would be happy because nothing would be left out. So along with your standard policies, always have a reminder of an alarm system or kind of reminders which will help them retrain the message whenever they go through these reminders. That's the reason many corporates have first morning brush up meeting. So what they do in this meeting is that they talk about all the things done yesterday, they talk about all the leftovers to be done today, they assign new works to be done today, and they also assign weekly what is supposed to be done. Now weekly the meetings are taken, and then the monthly, and then quarterly. So this is how we keep on reminding our entire internal customers of how we can get things better, how we can do it better, and taking a follow-up is always necessary, because if the follow-up is not taken of anything, I don't think that thing would sustain. I don't think the work would be done. Follow-up is extremely important. The first time you call a customer and a follow-up is not done, I don't think the customer would be sustainable for a very long time with your organization. So friends, not only have internal policies, but also reiterate the message whenever required. Let's move on to the next tip. Friends, the next tip would be empowering your employees. Now, this is always given a lot of importance, and this is the most important aspect of internal customer services. When I say empower your employees, this is giving your employees, all of them, right from the front line to the management level, a right to speak whenever required. These are the levers for your improvement, which pull up the improvements of your company, of your brand, and especially customer satisfaction. When you reap these kinds of seeds as a culture in your organization of respecting your staff, empowering them by giving them a clear communication upfront, giving them a ground where they can come up and speak to, giving them an open feedback ground. Now, this is something where they would come up with the real issues of customers, they would come up with the real necessity, and then we can work on it. Like I told you in my last video of internal external customers, that every time it's not necessary for the top management to get into the shoes of the customers all the time, because they do not know a lot of customers, since that those are faced by the frontline people. Now, if the frontline people are not asked of how best they can get on the services, or what was the requirement of the customer, what was the hitch while they were servicing the customer, that's something we would never come to know at the top management level. So friends, as a top management level and as an internal customers of your company, treat all the other employees at the same level, and that's how you can empower them, and that's how you can bring in a maximum level of customer satisfaction in your organization. Friends, the next tip is set up an exchange of the ideas into the system. So now every internal customer would have a lot of ideas, especially the frontline. Why only the top management would have all the ideas? So there are a lot of times where they are into direct contacts with customers, or they are directly into calls, or directly into front faces with the customer, especially the frontline people. Now, they are the ones whose ideas should be refrained. They are the ones whose ideas should come up while what is necessary for customer service. What are the expectations, or what are the demands, or what are the feedbacks of the customers? Now, if we play on these ideas, or if we understand, or there is an exchange of these ideas, imagine the synergy that we would create while we do the customer servicing of all the external customers. Friends, there are a lot of corporates where I have worked, and I've given this tip very strongly, that have exchange of idea session. Now, here every employee is empowered to right to speech and come up with an idea of how we can get better by an example of what were the issues and what we did to settle it. So every time I go to a corporate, I always very strongly recommend them that have a session, which is like an exchange of idea session between the employees. Now here, the main idea of all of this is that every employee of the company, especially in the customer service department or any department rather, would come up with an idea. It would be like a pot lunch session, which will be, like 2 hours before the pot lunch would be this kind of idea exchange session. Especially everyone who faces the customer can come up with one idea with an example of what went wrong and what made them go right. So that person would come with an idea of what changes have to be made in the customer service department, or what changes is required in the policy of internal customer service or external customer service. Now, when they come up with these ideas, exchange those ideas with all the other people sitting in the ground. So say if there are 15 people, synergize all of them, collaborate all these ideas and come up with a beautiful layout of policies and standard rules. Friends, you will not believe there are a lot of times where we come up with amazing ideas of customer service because every brain is different and creative. Now, we need to use those creativity at the maximum level. Friends, many corporates I also suggest that why don't you have appreciation or a prize or some kind of reward where these people who come up with the ideas and who comes up with maximum ideas and the best ideas would definitely get awarded or rewarded to be the part of the exchange idea synergy group. We also have made up groups wherever I have trained of synergy group of exchanging ideas into customer service. So I would also suggest all the corporates, top level management, especially dealing into customer service, to have something like this for your internal customers and make them feel so empowered of them having the right to speech and having the right to change the policies whenever required. The next step is visualize through your company chart. Friends, always remember something put on the wall board or the chart board of your company is something that impresses not only customers but also internal customers. Many a times a good thought of the day when put on the blackboard, out of the entire staff, at least 90 people read that. Now, while we do this or while we create this impression on our internal customers, it is also very important to understand that the visual effects are something which impresses a person, or the text or the name placing, that's something that also helps a person feel happy. So normally if you see the pyramid of the company hierarchy, you will always see the top management on the top. But that's not necessary. You can have the top management down and you can have the internal customers up, which will give them an upliftment to boost their morals, to come up and to talk over about the topic very openly and very upfrontly. It is all in the hands of our top level management to deal and handle these situations. I'm telling you, once these situations are handled and controlled, there's nothing as beautiful as customer service in your entire organization. Dealing with customers, which is normally so irritating because there are a lot of irritating and aggressive customers, would become in a happy way of dealing into angry customers and getting them into converted into happy customers. That's the happiness of the world that you can get actually. Friends, this is a worldwide practice of visualizing certain things according to what makes you the most satisfied and the most happy. So friends, use this technique of visualizing through company charts. Have them on your wallpapers, have them on all the walls of each and every notice board, and then see the difference of how each internal customer feels happy about it. As an internal customer, also one tip, please understand of adding your thoughts and ideas on this chart. So it's not only for you to see it and happy, it's also to give it an effect. It's also to give a very grooming effect towards your customer service. So friends, this is a very important tip because sometimes even your visualization makes you think in a very different way. Ensure two-way accountability and transparency. Now, when I say two-way accountability, normally the subordinates report to the manager, and that's how the entire hierarchy system is supposed to be since so many years, and it still continues, which is right in a way. But think of an environment where everyone is answerable and accountable to each other, right from the customers externally to the internal customers. Now, this is something where we come up with a team and not a superior and the inferior. Now, say we come up with the team saying that, okay, this is the task of the manager, this is the task of the front line, this is the task of the top management. And every meeting, not only the subordinates are answerable to the top management, but the manager also is answerable to the subordinates that this was my task and this is how it has been done. Especially when there is a synergy in exchanging of ideas, and if there is a new idea which is a very great idea come up from all the internal customers, and the manager has taken the lead to start on with those ideas and implement them, then the manager is also accountable and answerable with extreme transparency of what has he worked up the entire week and how well has he started with the ideas or how well the ideas has been absorbed, instead of putting his own ideas into frame all the time. Keeping each person accountable and having a complete transparency will help the entire organization to be extremely communication free. Now, no one would have gaps, no one would have rules, and there are people who create a lot of nonsense and chaos while we do all this. Now, we need to recognize those people and keep them out of the loop, or rather have better people coming in. So this is also very important. Now, in this, you will have a lot of conflicts that would occur, because not everyone would allow everyone to take any accountability, or there will be always an issue while we do this. Now, here also we can have them trained on conflict resolution. Every conflict happens for a resolution, and the resolution has to be positive. That's how we work on. So positive resolution brings in a lot of difference to your organization. So a new tip that comes up with transparency and accountability is conflict resolution. Now, being an extremely strong leader, if there are those leadership qualities to resolve these issues, I am sure that they would be 100% successful in bringing in these policies in the organization. Friends, next tip is highlight employees' impact. So when I say highlight employee impact, is every employee has some impact or the other on his work or his profession that he is doing for the organization. Now, this impact should be so extreme that the entire organization should have the effects of these kind of impacts, and it has to be really effective and efficient. Now, most employees are too far from the bottom line, and that's the reason why they realize the impact of the work. Sometimes they don't. Now, when I say have an impact, or when I say highlight your employee's impact, I would say that if there is an employee, even at a sweeper level at any kind of organization, we need to recognize and highlight his work impact. So say if he's a sweeper, and that's how the office is clean, and that's how it's a beautiful environment around us. What if there were no sweepers in the organization? We would have not been able to keep it clean and neat and tidy. So recognize each one's work with a lot of impact. See what his work brings to us. And then with this kind of attitude, I am sure that even the most bottom line employee of the company would boost up his morale, would be very happy in doing what he's doing, would get motivated, geared up. Friends, at the end of the day, only we can motivate ourselves. There is no other person who would come from out of the frame and motivate us. We are someone who can help ourselves, who can save ourselves. So always have an impact of whatever you do as a customer, as an employee of the company. This is my tip for each of the internal customers, that whenever you do a small thing, you should have a major impact. If you do not do an impactful thing, I would suggest don't go for it. So it's not only how effective your work is, it's also what is your efficiency toward that effectiveness. If your efficiency is not that great, then the work will not show effect. Please don't do that kind of task, or don't implement those kind of policies. So this was my tip to highlight employees' impact in whatever grounds they are, in whatever levels they are, and see the difference. I am sure you will be surprised by the change that a company environment will look at. Friends, my last tip is highlight the team impact. What I spoke was highlight each employee's impact before. Now I'm saying highlight the team impact. Friends, there is nothing in the world more stronger than collaboration. So friends, when I say that have an impact, not only as an individual, but as a team, which means that there is a collaboration and a contribution from each one of the employee, which builds up a team. Especially when a team leader is very powerful and effective, the entire team that he runs, now that has nothing to do with numbers. He can run a team of 10, he can run a team of 100 also at a times. But if the trainer is impactful, if the team leader is effective, then the team works out to be something different. Now, when I say highlight the team impact, means there are a lot of times as individuals that we work, and there are a lot of times that we give our feedbacks in as a team. Now, as the team, if the feedback is taken very nicely and clearly, and we're working on those ideas, then as a team you grow and flourish. Many a times, the top level management doesn't even know the name of a particular employee. But if you've made teams, they would definitely look you as a team member of this particular team. Friends, collaboration and contribution is the most important aspect, and that makes you happy and grow ahead. What is the fun in running a race where you are running alone? Run in a race where you're running all together and all reach to some goal in life. Now, this is only possible if you have team which is most effective and most efficient to run that path along with you, because they are the people who pull you up, and they are the people who also pull you down at times. But then without that, there is no fun. Imagine there is a plain road and you're just walking on it. There's no one around. There's no competition. There's no energy. There's no synergy happening around. So what's the fun in doing that? Rather than that, you have 10 other people along with you who have their own ideas and opinion, and you can share your own ideas and opinion, and you make a brilliant team. So friends, teamwork is the most important aspect, and that can only be more powerful if there are exchange of ideas and impact in the impactful team that we're talking about. So highlight the team impact. That's my most important tip of the day. And by this, I end all my 9 tips for turning the tables round, or turning upside down, turning things around while we talk about internal customers. Now, many of the organizations fail in these policies because these tips or these rules are not followed properly. But if we follow each and every tip in the right manner, very positively, with the correct leader, with the correct trainers, I am sure that you will be able to have fantastic synergizing in your team. You'll have a fantastic team, you will have a fantastic outcome to your customers, and the customers at the end of the day, their satisfaction rate would be 100%. Friends, I hope we start using or materializing this immediately, and I hope I have given some help or some tips to get things better. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please stay tuned to Ekeeda and keep subscribing to our channel. Thank you.